Hi, everybody. So here's the video on how to use StatCrunch. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do here is sign in to my math lab, obviously. And then we click on StatCrunch, which is on the left-hand side. All right. So we're going to click here. And then from here, you have two options. Okay. Option number one. Let me turn down my volume here a little bit. I didn't realize it was that loud. Okay. Anyways, option number one, you can view data sets from your textbook, or you can visit the StatCrunch website. All right. So I'll go through each of these. Okay. So the first one, data sets from your textbook. So you just click on data sets. It opens up all these different data sets here. So let's look at, let's see here. We'll look up, it's a good one, just body data, I guess. All right. Yeah, so here we go. So here we have all these different columns of data. Now, columns will always be the variables, all right? The rows, all right, so going left and right, will be your observations. In other words, the people that you got the information from. So clearly the first person here is age 43. We coded gender, 0 equals female, 1 equals male. Pulse rates, 80, systolic, diastolic, HDL, LDL, cholesterol, so forth, okay? So once you're in here, all right, you have all these different things up here, all right? So for example, let's say we specifically wanted to look at pulse rates, and let's do some cool things with it, all right? So the first thing we're gonna do is let's create we'll create a histogram, all right? So we click on a histogram, and then we gotta select what columns we want StatCrunch to look at. So since we said pulse rates, we're gonna look at pulse. All right. Then down here, okay, the where, you can kind of leave this alone. You don't have to do this. Group by, it's optional. Okay. We're not going to mess with that. Type, we want frequency counts, but as you can see here, there's a relative frequency and then a density histogram. We didn't look at density histograms, but that's okay. They're just cumulative. All right. So let's leave it frequency. All right. Now, here's where we need to look at how do we want our bins? Now, if you remember, I referred to the classes as we created a histogram as bins, like a garbage bin. And this is exactly why. All right. So real quick, I'm going to cancel this because what I want to do is I just want to look at, see if I can find like the smallest or the lowest pulse rate. I'm just scanning real fast. The smallest one I've seen so far, the lowest is 52. Yeah, I think 52 is going to be it. So we're going to scroll all the way down. All right, so there's n equals 300 people in this study. So let's do that again. So graph, histogram, pulse, start bin at, we'll say 50. And then the class width, let's see here. I don't know. We'll make it whatever we want. So let's make it, we'll make it 15 for now, okay? Then we have display options, all right? So we can, display options would be, okay, look, we could put like a normal distribution over top of this, or beta, chi-square, exponential. All right. We'll leave this alone for now. All right. And I'll show you why in a second. All right. I'm going to do 2 of these, but let's go ahead and let's look at the mean and the median. Let's see what happens there. So all we have to do is select those. Dividers, you don't have to worry about this. You can change all this stuff. The x-axis, you can make it pulse. The y-axis, we can make it frequency count if we wanted to. All right. Title is going to be histogram. Histogram for pulse rates in adults. All right. Don't mess with anything else and just click on compute. And there you go. We got our beautiful histogram right here. And you can see it did everything for us, which is great. If you take your mouse and you leave it over top, it'll tell you the range, or I'm sorry, not the range, but like where does the bin start? Where does it end? What's the frequency count? As you can see here, we have in green and in red our mean and median. All right. And notice how they're basically the same thing. So this, we would consider this to be very like a normally distributed variable. Okay. So if I click on X, you'll see that it goes over here. There's a little 1 and it just saves all your results and everything. All right. So if you close something, you don't have to worry about it going away. All right. But let's do another graph here. We're going to do a histogram again. I'm not going to label everything this time, but we'll do the same one. So start at 50, bins 52. And now we're going to put this normal overlay. Okay. And we'll do these two things again, compute. And now you can see how it kind of gives us that normal distribution in red. All right. And excuse me. And although it's not perfect, we would say this is slightly normal. Or I mean, to be honest with you, I would just call this normal. All right. So there's that. Now we're going to use the same variable. Let's go to stats, and we can go to like summary stats. Summary stats are going to be what we're currently learning. So columns, let's do pulse. Let's do systolic and diastolic. Now, in order to do this, if you look underneath where it says pulse, systolic, and diastolic, that little yellow bar, it says select more than one with shift click or control click. So we're going to hold in shift, and we're going to click on a couple of these, and it'll go ahead and give it to us. And then down here, all right, the gray box is what you want. The white box is what it's going to display. All right. So we have a bunch of things over here. Like we have N, mean, variance, standard deviation, standard error, median, range, min, max, Q1, Q1, and Q3. And that's fine. We could just leave everything the way it is. And when we click on compute, here you go. Here's everything right here. All right. And this is something like when you go ahead and you do your research project, like I want to see this. All right. This is really good information for me. Okay. So this is if you are using some sort of data set from the book. All right. So let's do this again. Okay. But this time we're just going to visit the StatCrunch website. All right. So we click on that. And then if you look on the left-hand side, we have my data, data sets, upload data, interactive applets, data collectors, things like that. All right. So when you collect your own data, all right, the first thing here, and I'm going to bring this over so you can see it. These are all the data sets from our textbook. So it's not like I went out and did any of this stuff. Okay. But what you're going to have to do is use Excel first. All right. And I'll show everybody how to do this. But if I double click on body data, here's the exact data set that we were just looking at. All right. But now it's in Excel. So how do we get this into StatCrunch? Well, it's really, really easy. So let me just go ahead and try to like minimize this window here a little bit. There we go. All right. So we're going to click on upload data. And then over here, just drag and drop. So body data, drag it over. It's gonna preview the first 5 rows. Notice we have all the same variables that we were trying to measure. Here's the first 5 rows. If this is good, you can change its name. You can give it a description. First line as column name. That's correct. This first line all the way up here is the column name. So all we have to do here is just click on upload. Give it a second, it'll do its thing, and whammo, there you go. You got your data in here. And that's pretty standard for a lot of statistical software packages. Again, we were looking at, if you remember those scatter plots, where you could do a scatter plot in here, right? So here's a scatter plot right here. Now with scatter plots, you need 2 variables. All right, so let's look at pulse, and we'll look at systolic, all right? So the x-axis or the horizontal axis will be pulse. The y-axis is going to be systolic. We're going to leave everything else the same. You don't have to worry about anything here. Click on compute, and there we go. Beautiful. That's our scatter plot. All right. You could do all types of things. You could do a dot plot. We were looking at dot plots. All right. So let's do pulse again. Compute. There's your dot plot right there. You can look at a stem and leaf plot. All right. So we'll look at pulse again. All right. Let's see. Group by. We don't have to worry about that. Outlier, trimming, extreme only. That's fine. Compute. There is our stem and leaf plot. All right. So StatCrunch is really straightforward. It's just like how and this is maybe an oversimplification. Okay. But it's like Netflix and Hulu. It's like they both do the same exact thing. You just got to know where to click. That's it. So for us, the majority of our time is going to be in the stat menu, okay, and then graphing, all right? More so, you know, the graphing is pretty good just to get an idea, all right? But stat is where we're really going to live because we have all these different calculators here that we can use. We have the summary statistics. We have tables, all right? We have Z stats, T stats, proportion stats, all this stuff. So tables, like we could do a frequency table if we wanted to, all right? So let's see here, bin numerical values. Let's again start this at 50. We'll make our bin width 15, compute, and there you go. There's our relative. It gives us our frequency count and then our relative frequency. the hardest thing is just taking the time to learn how to do this. So I hope this video helped, and I'll definitely see you in class.